Dear students, today I will throw light on the poetic lines of Philip Larkin's poem Once. He writes after two world wars, so definitely impact of the post-war situation can be noticed in his poetry. His poems can be interpreted in terms of modernism and realism. The philosophy that was prevailing at that time, in fact, no philosophy was prevailing, and in fact, I should say that there is no such society where we don't have any philosophy. That means the loss of values, loss of morality, loss of faith, which all the modern poets are lamenting, if that same tints we may notice in his poetry also. So sometimes he is grouped with poets like W.H. Auden and T.S. Eliot. However, he denies, and it is also said about him that the critics have remarked that he wanted to discover or bring back romantics ideal. But the way and the mood in which he is writing his poem, it totally gives the imprint of modernism, or it totally gives the imprint of that particular mindset, that particular psychology which was dominating after World War. So he's a poet, and just like all other poets, he's here lamenting over all those degenerations or the mindset psychology of the 20th century figures. And generally we notice that his poems are on time, chance, matter of choice. So these are the subject matters of his poem. As far as this particular poem is concerned, entitled Once, it is of 10 lines, and it focuses on all those innumerable wishes and desires of human world. So if you just start thinking, if you just start talking about the innumerable wishes and desires of human world, you cannot make them count, right? So you just take example from yourself, that you nurture, you develop in your mind one wish and one desire, and the moment it gets fulfilled, you develop another one, you start crying for the another one. So we are actually we human beings are like this only, that we keep on developing desires and wants, and we have tiny issues in our life. So there is a wish to earn money, wish to have name and fame, wish to have fake identity, right? So there is no sense of sacrifice, there is no sense of helping others, but there is always concentration over the self. So and out of all these things together, the situation which is prevailing, it creates anxiety, depression. It creates a kind of situation where one who is sensitive by heart and mind may feel suffocation. And you know that poets, they are always sensitive by heart and mind, and they perceive what common people, common mind cannot perceive. So Larkin just declares in one line his wish, and that wish is to be alone. Now, why he wishes to be alone? This alone is not at all loneliness. Rather, it is a desire to go into seclusion. Seclusion, that means solitude he is talking here, or he is talking about a private space which may give some sort of solace, some comfort, some relief from the whirling moves of the life, relief from the anxiety and depression of the life. So there are so many wants and desires. So many footprints are here for human beings in this life. So many parameters are here that can declare that you either you belong to lower class society or higher class society. These distinctions are here. Measuring scales are available here. But still, in top to bottom, in the every section of the society, there is just one wish that can be at the top from the side of poet, and it is wish to be alone. Why wish to be alone? Because in this human world, only futile activities are present to us, and through this kind of through this activity, definitely we cannot have that liberation. So poet says that many wishes are here, but the wish to be alone is at top. So now I take the lines. Beyond all this, the wish to be alone. So poem talks about the typical 20th century psychology, and here he just throws light over the degradation of morality and spirituality in this particular age. So he says that many ideas and many thoughts may come to the 20th century people, but this one is the at top. And as I explained, that it is a space, that private space where perhaps one may have communication with oneself. But after declaring this wish, he writes 3 lines with however. Like that means the contradictory situation he presents here. And this, however, is what? The sky grows dark with invitation cards. However, we follow the printed directions of sex. However, the family is photographed under the flag staff. So invitation cards, hallmark of modern society, hallmark of this particular developed society and developed civilization. So from the beginning, in fact, I should say that we born with the cards and we die with the cards. So on our birth also and our death also, the cards are printed. But actually the cards which are printed there, the names which are printed there on the card, are they really immortal? Are they really famous? Have they really gained this fame and name in their life that they can be remembered just like these poets and painters after their life? So many such people, they take birth and they die, and invitation cards keep on going. The printed direction of sex, that means the set norms of life. And the marriage is the printed direction of sex. That means marriage is holding one of the most important space, one of the most important roles is given to the marriage system of marriage in our life. So everybody is measured or just mapped in this way, that birth has taken place, a grown up marriage, and then however the family is photographed under the flag staff. And definitely after marriage you are developing your family, so the concept of happiness is measured when you are having a photograph framed together with family members, and perhaps you have gone to the places like Lal Killa and Taj Mahal and many such tourist places. You may go on just standing beneath the flagpole, your picture with family is clicked and that you have framed and you have just hung it, you have just taken it there on your wall. So these are the scales through which you are measured, your life standard is measured, your happiness is measured. But what he says after all these howevers, that beneath all this wish to be alone. But these howevers are not walking at all. These howevers are not ultimate wish. The ultimate wish is what? Wish to be alone. And in fact, I should say that the wish to be alone is a kind of imposed wish over poet. Why? Because it is germinated in his mind out of the modern scenario and modern situation. Beneath it all, desire of oblivion runs. So the desire of oblivion runs, or the word, if you look at, that is used here as desire, not fear but desire. That means poet is willing to go into the state of oblivion. That means he wants to be victim of forgetfulness willingly. If it is willingly, then he is not victim. That means he wants to be forgotten. No, he says that if you have this wish to be alone, or if you will keep on following the howevers of your life, that means invitation card, flag, the picture clicking to the famous near the famous places, or marriage and food, these things you are going to continue. That means the humanly acts, which are generally called as humanly acts, but animalism, in a way animalism. So there is no difference between those people who just take birth in their life and they do nothing for society, they do nothing for the human world. They just live their life and they die. Means where there is no otherness of the other, these people are actually not human beings in true sense. So he says that if you are going to be alone, definitely oblivion will follow. And oblivion is just like that error of human life from which you cannot come out. So human life is the name of imperfection. Human life is known with the another name, that is imperfection. Imperfection, that means so many mistakes and errors are existing in our life. So just as we can't go out of the errors of our life, in the same way, if these howevers you are going to follow, you will be entering into the alone, and definitely you are going to be victim of the forgetfulness. So definitely this oblivion will follow your footsteps. Despite the artful tension of calendar, the life insurance, the table fertility rites, the costly aversion of the eyes from death. So we are time bound people. Calendar is calendar in very artistic manner. It follows us, it instructs us. So either you take care of the time or not, time follows you, or you follow time, right? In both the ways you can say. So time to do this and time to do that, and whether you are conscious of the time or not, time is passing with its own pace, right? You cannot have control over this. So if you wish to be young forever, you cannot be young forever. This is how time is practicing its seizures upon all of us. So life insurance, just as I talked about that in Auden's poetry, like how much insurance you may have from these insurance policies. These insurance policies are ultimately going to fail when there is attack of when there is attack of death or some disease, just as right now. So nobody can insure you. Fertility rights, so many such rituals and many such rights, that means the fertility rights, like how life should get established. That means many such rites and rituals take place not only in marriages but in after marriages also, in families, so that this Srishti may continue, so that this universe may continue. But poet says that poet raises some of the important questions, and in this line, another line he has written that the costly aversion of the eyes from death. So if you go and ask to septuagenarian and septuagenarian that would you like to die, they will always say that no, and I am taking medicine of Baba Ramdev and definitely I am going to be cured. So that means everybody is having this aversion from death, because we are ignorant people. We don't have understanding that death is going to bring or it will open a door of another life. We feel that death is the end of this life, so we don't want to die. Beneath it all, desire of oblivion runs. So for the mental peace, somewhere alone, this aloofness is required, and if you are going in this aloof world, definitely this oblivion will follow. So man, they are having many wishes. They are having wish for money, protection, luxury, and out of all these wishes, poet gives priority to the wish to be alone. So in very catchy way, in just 10 lines, poet has beautifully presented picture of his time, and there is need need of regenerating all those values which may provide solace and comfort to others. And this is how you are also other of other and other of other. So poet here describes in short that graph of the society, and I think there is no such line that is not understandable to you. If you find any difficulty, you may ask. Thank you.